I woke up with a pounding headache, the kind that only a bottle of whiskey and bad decisions can give you. My first thought was, where the hell am I? My second, when I saw a man's arm draped across my bare chest, was, oh hell no. The sheets smelled like cedarwood and something expensive. Definitely not my cheap detergent. I turned slowly, half afraid, half curious, and froze. The man beside me looked like he'd been carved out of every bad idea I'd ever had. Sculpted jaw, dark hair falling slightly over his forehead, and that faint scar running along his temple that made him look both dangerous and devastating. And then it hit me, I'd seen that face before. Not in a dream, in a photo, on my best friend's phone. I had just slept with Ethan Moore, the cold, untouchable older brother of my coworker and best friend, Liam. I nearly fell out of bed. The night before was a blur of lights, laughter, and the kind of flirting I swore I didn't do. Liam had dragged me to a corporate party to blow off steam. I didn't expect to end up in the VIP lounge, drinking with Ethan, the man Liam always warned me about. Don't mess with my brother, Liam said once. He's emotionally unavailable, a total control freak. Yeah, well, emotionally unavailable had apparently been available enough last night. I scrambled for my pants, my brain firing panic signals in every direction. But before I could escape, Ethan stirred. His voice, deep and smooth like black coffee, rolled through the air. Going somewhere, sweetheart? Sweetheart. Jesus Christ. 2 have to go, I stammered, clutching my shirt like it could hide my humiliation. Ethan sat up, sheets sliding down his bare chest, revealing a body that looked like it had been designed to ruin lives. He studied me, eyes unreadable, then said quietly, "You're Liam's friend, aren't you?" My heart stopped. He knew. At the office the next day, I pretended everything was normal. My hangover had evolved into an existential crisis. Liam was his usual cheerful self, rambling about weekend plans and deadlines, completely unaware that I'd spent the night in his brother's bed. Every time he said, "Ethan," my stomach twisted. The worst part? Ethan showed up. Apparently, he was consulting for the firm, something Liam had conveniently forgotten to mention. The entire floor went still when he walked in, tall, commanding, in a navy suit that screamed money and confidence. His eyes met mine for a split second, a flicker of recognition and something else. I looked away. Days passed, but I couldn't shake him. Ethan had this unnerving ability to appear whenever I least expected it. In the elevator, the break room, the parking lot. Always calm, always composed, like nothing had happened. Until one night when I stayed late at work. Everyone else was gone. The city outside painted in neon and rain. I was typing reports when his voice came from behind me. "You're avoiding me," he said. I didn't turn around. "Maybe I'm busy." He walked closer. I could feel the weight of his presence. "Maybe," he murmured, "you're scared." I finally looked at him. Of what? Of how good it felt. The air crackled. I hated him for being right. I hated myself more for remembering the way his lips had felt against my skin. The way he'd held me like I was something precious in the chaos of that night. I stood up, trying to sound cold. "It was a mistake." He smiled faintly. "Then why do you keep looking at me like you want it to happen again?" Over the following weeks, our dynamic turned into something dangerous. Glances held too long. Accidental touches. Words that lingered after meetings. Ethan was relentless, but never forceful, always giving me the choice to walk away. But I didn't, because every time I saw him, I saw the cracks beneath the perfection, the loneliness in his eyes, the exhaustion behind the confidence. He wasn't just Liam's cold brother. He was a man who'd built walls so high no one dared climb them, until I accidentally crashed right through. One Friday night, after a long meeting, he offered me a ride home. The storm outside had turned the streets into mirrors. We sat in silence, the hum of rain filling the car. "Why do you do this?" I asked suddenly. "Why me?" He looked at me, his expression softer than I'd ever seen. "Because you make me feel something I thought I'd buried a long time ago." My heart stuttered. He reached out, brushing a strand of hair from my forehead. His touch was gentle, almost hesitant. For a moment, I forgot every reason to pull away. Then headlights flashed behind Liam's car. My blood went cold. Liam knocked on the window, soaking wet, smiling. "Hey, you guys carpooling now?" I froze. Ethan cleared his throat, his hand retracting immediately. "Just giving him a lift," Ethan said smoothly. "Cool." Liam grinned, oblivious. "We're all grabbing drinks later. You in?" I muttered something about deadlines, heart pounding as Liam walked away. When he was gone, I exhaled shakily. "This is insane," I whispered. "He's your brother." Ethan's jaw tightened. "And you're his friend." "I know." "Then we have to stop." He looked at me for a long moment, rain blurring the world outside. "If you can look me in the eyes right now and tell me you don't want me, I'll stop." My mouth opened. Nothing came out. That night I couldn't sleep. Every logical part of me said run. But my heart, the reckless, traitorous part, kept replaying his words. His voice. That look in his eyes that felt like truth. And beneath all the fear, something else was growing. The realization that I wanted more than a mistake. I wanted him. The following week felt like a slow-motion disaster waiting to happen. Every time Ethan entered a room, my heartbeat tried to make a break for it. I kept my head down, avoiding eye contact, pretending I was focused on spreadsheets instead of the man who had me unraveling from the inside out. But the truth was he was everywhere. Meetings, coffee breaks, even the elevator ride where we stood shoulder to shoulder, his cologne making my pulse trip over itself. It wasn't fair. He looked completely fine, like he hadn't just dismantled my peace of mind. Meanwhile, I was drowning in tension every time our eyes met. Then, on a Thursday afternoon, he cornered me again. Literally. I was on my way out of the office when the door to the stairwell opened, and there he was, sleeves rolled up, tie loosened, looking like temptation in human form. "Still avoiding me?" he asked, voice low. I sighed, gripping my bag tighter. "Ethan, I told you it was a mistake." He leaned against the wall, eyes glinting. "You keep saying that, but your eyes don't agree." "Stop," I said, sharper than I meant. "You're Liam's brother. This isn't just wrong. It's complicated," he finished, stepping closer. "But you and I both know complicated doesn't mean impossible." My throat went dry. His words hit me like static in the air. Every inch of me screamed to run, but instead, I whispered, "You're playing with fire." He smiled faintly. "Maybe I'm tired of the cold." And before I could think, he was kissing me. It wasn't like the first time, wild and fueled by alcohol. This was deliberate, soft, devastatingly gentle. The kind of kiss that makes you forget the world's rules and remember how it feels to be wanted. I should have pushed him away. I didn't. When we finally broke apart, I could barely breathe. "This can't happen again," I whispered, though my voice shook. He brushed his thumb over my jaw, eyes dark. "Then why does it feel like it already has?" That night, I went home and tried to convince myself it was over, that it meant nothing. But lying to myself had become a full-time job. By Saturday, he texted, "Ethan, dinner, 7 p.m. No excuses." I stared at the message for an hour. My brain listed all the reasons to say no: ethics, loyalty, sanity. My heart, on the other hand, had already picked out what shirt to wear. He took me to a quiet Italian restaurant tucked away in downtown Manhattan. It was small, candlelit, intimate, the kind of place where people fell in love or made terrible decisions. Probably both. "You didn't have to do this," I said as we sat down. He poured wine into my glass, smirking. "I wanted to. You deserve to be treated well." I laughed under my breath. "You don't even know me." His gaze softened. "You'd be surprised how much I do." Something in the way he said it made my chest tighten. We talked about work, family, how he hated being the responsible one. Somewhere between the laughter and the lingering looks, I forgot why I was supposed to resist him. When the night ended, he walked me to my building. I expected a polite goodbye. Instead, he leaned in, close enough that I could feel his breath. "I can't stop thinking about you," he said, and I broke. Again. What started as a mistake turned into something neither of us could contain. We became a secret. Stolen hours, hidden smiles, text messages written in code. Sometimes he'd brush past me in the hallway, fingers grazing mine, and that tiny touch would burn for hours. Other nights, he'd wait in his car near my apartment, headlights off, and I'd slip in beside him, heart racing. He wasn't just cold anymore. With me, he was warm, human. But secrets have a way of catching fire. It was late one evening when Liam walked into my office, grinning. "Guess what? Ethan's coming over this weekend. Family dinner. You should come too." I nearly choked. "Dinner? With you guys?" "Yeah, you've known me forever. You're basically family. Besides, Mom's dying to meet you. She loves your design work." My stomach flipped. "Liam," I don't think he frowned. "Dude, come on. You always bail on us. What's going on?" I forced a laugh. "Nothing. Just busy." "Fine," he said, rolling his eyes. "But you're missing Mom's lasagna. That's on you." As soon as he left, I sat there, heart pounding. Dinner with Ethan's family? I couldn't even survive lunch with him without feeling like a liar. I texted Ethan immediately. "Me, your brother invited me for dinner. I can't do this." "Ethan, you don't have to." "Me, he won't take no for an answer." "Ethan, then I guess I'll see you at 7. Saturday came faster than I wanted. Liam's parents' house was beautiful, suburban, elegant, every room smelling like nostalgia and home-cooked meals. His mom hugged me the second I stepped in. "Oh, you must be the famous best friend. Liam talks about you all the time." "Famous?" I repeated weakly. "That's nice." And then Ethan appeared, dressed casually in a gray sweater, sleeves pushed up, eyes locking on mine with a flicker of amusement. Nobody else noticed the way my breath caught. We sat across from each other at the table, pretending we were just acquaintances. Felt like torture. His leg brushed mine once under the table, and I nearly dropped my fork. "So," Mrs. Moore said, smiling, "are you seeing anyone these days?" I froze mid-bite. Liam groaned. "Mom, don't start." She waved him off. "I'm just curious. You're such a handsome young man. Surely someone's caught your eye." My cheeks burned. Ethan's gaze lingered just long enough to make my stomach twist. I managed. Not really. Been focused on work." Mrs. Moore sighed dramatically. "Well, whoever he ends up with will be lucky." Across the table, Ethan smirked. I wanted the floor to open up and swallow me whole. After dinner, I went outside to breathe. The night air was cool, stars hidden behind city haze. I didn't hear Ethan until he was right behind me. "You handled that well," he murmured. I turned, arms crossed. "You think this is funny?" He stepped closer. "No, I think it's hard. Watching you pretend like there's nothing between us." "There is nothing between us," I lied. He tilted his head, eyes soft but knowing. "Then why do you keep shaking every time I'm near?" "I'm not." He caught my wrist gently, his thumb tracing the pulse beneath my skin. "You are. And I'm not any better." I looked at him, torn between fear and desire. "Liam will hate us." "I know. Then why keep pushing?" "Because you make me feel alive again," he said simply. "And I'm tired of pretending that I don't need that." My voice cracked. "You're going to destroy me." "Maybe," he whispered. "Or maybe I'll save you." And just like that, he kissed me again, quick, desperate, hidden by the shadows of the backyard. It lasted only seconds, but it felt like forever. Neither of us saw Liam standing by the window. The next morning, everything collapsed. He didn't confront me right away. Instead, he acted normal at work, which was somehow worse. Then, late that night, my phone buzzed. "Liam, come to the rooftop. Now." The tone made my blood run cold. When I arrived, he was waiting, arms crossed, jaw tight. "You and my brother," he said flatly. "How long?" I opened my mouth, closed it again. "Liam, don't," he snapped. "Don't insult me with lies." "I never meant," he laughed bitterly. "Never meant what? To fall for him? To sneak around behind my back?" Tears stung my eyes. "It just happened." "Bullshit," he said. You knew what it would do to me. You knew what he's like. He's going to hurt you, just like he hurts everyone else. He's not, he is, Liam shouted. He's selfish, cold, incapable of real love. And you were supposed to be my friend. His words hit harder than I expected, because part of me feared he was right. I'm sorry, I whispered. Liam stared at me, fury giving way to something like heartbreak. You're sorry? You think that fixes anything? He shook his head. I can't even look at you right now. He turned and walked away. I called his name, but he didn't stop. The sound of the rooftop door slamming echoed like the end of something sacred. That night, I sat alone in my apartment, staring at my phone. Ethan texted, called. I ignored every message, because for the first time, I didn't know what hurt more, losing Liam or loving Ethan. When he finally showed up at my door, I almost didn't open it, but I did. He stood there, rain-soaked, eyes fierce. He knows, I said quietly. I figured, Ethan replied. Are you okay? No, I admitted. Nothing about this is okay. He stepped forward. We can fix it. How? I demanded. By pretending the rest of the world doesn't exist? He hesitated. For the first time, I saw fear in his eyes. Maybe we start by being honest. About us. I laughed bitterly. Honest? We've been a secret from the beginning. His jaw tightened. Because I was protecting you. From what? I asked, voice breaking. From loving you out loud? He didn't answer. And that silence, that quiet hesitation broke something inside me. I shook my head. I can't do this anymore. Ethan's face fell. Don't say that. I have to, I said. Because if I don't, this will destroy everything. You, me, Liam. All of it. He stepped closer, eyes pleading. I'll talk to him. I'll make it right. You can't fix this, I whispered. Not this time. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then he nodded slowly, pain flickering in his expression. Then I'll let you go, he said softly. Even if it kills me. When he left, I collapsed. For the first time in weeks, the apartment felt truly empty. The days that followed were a quiet kind of hell. The kind that didn't shout, didn't burn, it just lingered, heavy and cold. Liam stopped talking to me completely. At work, he moved through the office like I didn't exist. The worst part wasn't the silence itself, it was the weight of what it meant. Years of friendship, laughter, late-night rants, and shared secrets all gone with one look of betrayal. And Ethan kept his distance, too. No calls, no messages, just absence, thick, suffocating, and louder than any argument we could have had. I thought maybe I deserved it. Maybe loving the wrong person was punishment enough. But every time I walked past his office, saw that familiar broad silhouette through the frosted glass, something inside me twisted. Because I knew he was pretending that letting go was easy, pretending that what we had didn't mean something. It did. It meant everything. A week later, Liam quit. No warning, no goodbye, just a single email sent to HR, and a short message left in my inbox. Don't call me. I need time. I read it 3 times before the words finally sank in. That night, I sat on my rooftop, legs dangling over the edge. New York sprawled out below like a glittering wound. The wind was cold, carrying the faint hum of traffic and life, everything moving forward while I stayed stuck in the same damn moment. And then, out of nowhere, I heard footsteps. Ethan. He looked tired, like he hadn't slept in days. His usual composure was gone. His eyes were softer, his expression unreadable. Liam's gone, I said before he could speak. I know, he murmured. He came by my place this morning, said he needed space. From both of us. I nodded numbly. He hates me. No, Ethan said quietly. He's hurt. There's a difference. I laughed bitterly. That difference feels like a canyon. Ethan didn't argue. He just stood beside me, looking out at the skyline. For a while, we didn't speak. The city below us buzzed with life, but up there, it felt like the world had shrunk to the space between us. Then he said softly, You were right. I can't fix this. I turned to him. Then why are you here? He met my gaze steady, certain. Because even if I can't fix it, I can't pretend it never happened. I love you. The words hit me like a jolt. He'd never said it before. I wanted to believe him. God, I did. But love wasn't supposed to ruin lives. And ours had left wreckage in every direction. You shouldn't say that, I whispered. Not now. It's the only thing I haven't said that's true, he replied. I swallowed hard, tears blurring the lights of the city. You can't just show up and make it better. I'm not trying to make it better, he said. I just need you to know that letting you go doesn't mean I stopped loving you. Something inside me cracked open. I stepped closer, my chest tight. Then why did you? He hesitated, then reached up, brushing my cheek with his thumb, his touch trembling slightly. Because I thought that was what you needed. I shook my head, voice breaking. What I needed was you to fight for me. He exhaled shakily, eyes glistening. Then let me fight now. Started small. A text in the morning. Coffee left on my desk. A silent drive home after work. We didn't talk about Liam or the past or the hurt. We just existed near each other again, like two ghosts slowly learning how to be human. And maybe that was the only way to heal, not with grand gestures or apologies, but with time. Then one Friday evening, my phone buzzed. A message from Liam. Meet me at the pier. Sunset. My stomach twisted. I hadn't seen him in weeks. My hands shook as I typed back, I'll be there. The pier was almost empty when I arrived. The sun hung low, painting the sky in shades of gold and bruised pink. Liam stood near the railing, staring out at the water. He didn't look angry anymore, just tired. Hey, I said softly. He didn't turn. Hey. Silence stretched between us, thick and heavy. Finally, he said, I hated you, for a while. I know. He nodded slowly. Then I realized. I wasn't really angry that you fell for him. I was angry that you didn't tell me, that you thought you had to hide it. I swallowed hard. I was scared. Of me? He asked, glancing over finally. Of losing you, I admitted. And I did anyway. Liam sighed, resting his arms on the railing. Ethan's complicated. Always has been. He shuts people out because it's easier than being disappointed. I didn't want you to end up like the rest of us. I'm not sure I haven't, I said bitterly. He smiled faintly. You love him. I didn't answer. I didn't have to. Liam nodded. Then maybe it's not my job to understand it. Maybe it's just my job to try. I felt tears sting my eyes. Does that mean we're okay? He shrugged, a small grin tugging at his lips. Not yet, but we will be. Eventually. Just don't make me an uncle anytime soon. I laughed through the tears, the tension finally breaking. It wasn't forgiveness, not completely, but it was a start. That night, I went to Ethan's apartment. He opened the door, surprise flickering across his face when he saw me. You talked to him, he guessed. I nodded. He's trying. That's enough for now. Ethan's shoulders relaxed, a quiet relief softening his features. And you? Are you trying? I took a step forward. I'm tired of pretending I don't want this. He exhaled, eyes closing for a moment like he'd been holding that breath for weeks. When he opened them again, there was something raw there, something vulnerable. He didn't speak. He just reached for me, pulling me into his arms. And this time, it didn't feel like running away. It felt like coming home. Months passed. The storm that once tore through our lives began to fade into calm. Ethan and I didn't announce anything. We didn't need to. People figured it out eventually from the looks, the small touches, the quiet way we stood too close to each other. Liam still teased me about it sometimes, but the edge was gone. His laughter came easier now. He even invited Ethan to his birthday dinner, a small, tentative olive branch that meant more than he'd ever admit. One night, after everyone left, Ethan and I stayed behind at my apartment. The city outside glowed through the window, soft and endless. He sat beside me on the couch, his fingers tracing idle circles on my hand. Do you ever regret it? He asked quietly. I turned to him. Which part? The night we met. everything that came after. I smiled sadly. Sometimes I think about how different things could have been. How easy it would have been if I'd just gone home that night instead of getting drunk with a stranger. He chuckled softly. You make it sound romantic. It wasn't, I said. It was messy, terrifying, complicated. And now, I looked at him, really looked. At the man who'd broken every rule I had, and somehow rebuilt me in the process. Now, I said, it feels like it was meant to happen. He leaned in, forehead resting against mine. You have no idea how much I needed to hear that. I smiled. You don't need to hear it. You just need to believe it. Later, as we lay tangled in quiet warmth, the city hummed below us. I thought about everything we'd been through, the pain, the guilt, the love that refused to die even when it should have. And I realized something simple but true. Love doesn't always fit into the lines people draw for it. Sometimes it's inconvenient, impossible, even wrong in the eyes of others. But when it's real, when it's built on truth, forgiveness, and a willingness to keep choosing each other through the mess, it's worth every risk. Ethan shifted beside me, half asleep, whispering, "What are you thinking about?" I smiled, brushing my fingers through his hair. About how lucky I am to have fallen into your arms that night. He smirked lazily, eyes still closed. Lucky? You sure about that? Completely, I said, even if it took breaking a few hearts to find my own. He chuckled, pulling me closer. You're impossible. And you love it. He hummed in agreement, the sound low and warm against my skin. Outside, the city kept moving, lights flickering, stories unfolding, lives colliding. But in that small apartment, wrapped in his arms, the noise of the world faded away. For once, everything felt right. Not perfect, not easy, but right. And maybe that was enough. Thank you for listening. If you find it interesting, please like and subscribe to follow the next stories.